So, let me ask you something. Are you just completely exhausted by unpredictable API billing every time you try to integrate AI features into your app? You know the exact feeling I'm talking about, right? You ship this cool new image generation tool, a user goes viral, and suddenly, bam, you're hit with a massive token-based bill at the end of the month that completely wrecks your budget. It's a huge pain point for developers and technical product managers everywhere. Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at a highly pragmatic, budget-friendly alternative today that might just solve that exact headache. We're talking about DeepAI. We're going to break down exactly what you need to know about this platform, focusing on its flat-rate image generation API, its beautifully simple architecture, and the real-world integration strategies you absolutely need to put it into production safely. Okay, let's dive right in. 1. Meet DeepAI. 2. Flat-rate pricing. 3. REST architecture. 4. Critical constraints. And 5. Integration strategies.
Number 1. Meet DeepAI.
So, DeepAI has actually been around since 2016, evolving into this really robust, multimodal platform. But honestly, here's what really matters for us as developers: the frictionless setup. You can officially say goodbye to NPM dependency hell. There are no massive, complicated SDKs to install here. It's just straight REST endpoints. You send an HTTP request, you get your result. It's wonderfully simple.
And because it's that simple, the onboarding is just absurdly fast. You literally just sign up at deepai.org with Google, open your developer dashboard, and it instantly hands you a UUID format API key. Seriously, no credit card required for the free tier, and you're making API calls in seconds.
Number 2, the flat-rate pricing advantage.
Okay, let's talk about the money, because this is kind of the great divide in the whole API landscape right now. Usually you've got compute-based pricing like Stability AI or OpenAI's DALL-E. You pay per token or per compute unit, which scales dynamically. That means your costs are, fundamentally, totally unpredictable. But DeepAI uses a flat-rate pricing structure. For just $9.99 a month, you get DeepAI Pro, giving you a fixed, predictable volume of API calls. So if you're building a tool where you just need bounded, consistent image generation, like an internal design helper or a content prototype, this flat-rate billing is just infinitely easier to budget for.
Number 3, architecture and REST endpoints.
Okay, wait, I need to stop and highlight a massive gotcha right here. If you're used to modern APIs, your muscle memory is going to tell you to put your API key in an authorization bearer header. Do not do that here. DeepAI explicitly requires the key to go in an API-key header. That's all lowercase with a hyphen. If you try to use standard bearer auth, the API will literally just instantly reject your request with an incorrect API key error. Seriously, write that down. And since there's no SDK, you really have to map your data formats correctly on your own. Notice the differences. For image generation, like the text-to-M endpoint, it expects a formadata post with a text field containing your prompt. Doing style transfer, you use the neural style endpoint and send formadata with multi-part files. But if you're using NLP endpoints, like for text summarization, then you send a standard JSON payload. If your integration code uses standard JSON on an image endpoint, it'll instantly fail.
Number 4, critical developer constraints. So, the first crucial operational constraint here is understanding the physical limits of the output. DeepAI's default image output resolution is 512 by 512 pixels. If you're building an application that needs high-res, print-ready assets, you have to verify if their specific paid plans or alternative endpoints can actually support your needs. For a lot of web-based tools and rapid prototyping, 512 by 512 is plenty, but you absolutely have to know this constraint before you build your whole UI around it.
Now brace yourself for this number, 48. When DeepAI generates an image, it returns an output_URL hosted on their CDN. Well, that URL expires in roughly 24 to 48 hours. This is a hard, non-negotiable operational constraint.
So think about it. If you just take that output URL and drop it directly into your user-facing database, you are going to have a catastrophic app full of broken images 2 days from now. So here's the production pipeline you absolutely must implement. Step 1. Call the API and wait the 5 to 15 seconds for generation. Step 2. Immediately take that output URL and download the image bytes on your own server. Step 3. Rehost that image to your own persistent storage, something like AWS S3 or Supabase storage, and save that permanent URL in your database. Rehosting is simply not optional for production.
Number 5, real-world integration strategies. All right, rule number 1 of API Club: protect your keys. You must use server-side proxying. Never, ever call the DeepAI API directly from your browser-side React or client JavaScript. If you do that, literally anyone can open their browser's dev tools, grab your API key, and just completely drain your monthly quota. Always route your front-end requests to your own server-side API routes. Securely append your DeepAI API key from your server's environment variables, and let your backend talk to DeepAI.
Once you have the plumbing totally secure, keep this design principle in mind. Prompt specificity matters more than the platform. See, DeepAI doesn't magically infer your desired artistic style just from the prompt text. If a user types a dog, they're going to get a very generic dog. If you want a cute 3D dog or an old-style painting of a dog, you as the developer need to explicitly build UI layers, like dropdowns or style buttons, that route the request to DeepAI-specific style endpoints, like the cute animal generator or old style generator. You really have to structure the inputs for your users.
Furthermore, you absolutely have to implement robust loading UI states. Image generation takes between 5 and 30 seconds. If you don't show a loading skeleton or a spinner, your users will definitely think the app is broken and click submit 5 more times, burning right through your flat rate quota. And hey, speaking of quota, always cache your outputs. If a user asks for a text summary of an article, save that summary in your database. Don't make an API call to DeepAI every single time someone loads that page. So, let's recap this pragmatic breakdown. Here is your quick developer checklist. 1. Use the lowercase API key header. 2. Expect form data for images, not JSON. 3. Rehost those expired URLs. 4. Proxy everything via your server side. 5. Cache your outputs. 6. Add UI loaders.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. We so often get caught up chasing the most cutting-edge, compute-heavy AI models, right? But we totally forget about the massive engineering overhead they bring with them. DeepAI occupies this really brilliant niche. It's incredibly fast to onboard, it uses straightforward REST instead of bloated SDKs, and it offers a predictable flat-rate price. Ask yourself, is a flat-rate, low-friction integration the actual missing piece you need to finally ship that AI feature in your current tech stack? It might just be time to trade a little complexity for some much-needed pragmatism. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding.